You are now listening to Love and War, the male and female perspective of love, life, and relationships in the 21st century, with your host, Crystal Francis. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Love and War. I'm your host, Dr. Francis, and today we're going to be talking about having relations in the workplace. Now, before we jump into the topic, we're going to do like we always do and say what's up to the panel tonight. First, giving a shout out to TW. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing all right. We had an eventful day earlier today. I had the exciting opportunity to share my story for MLK Day, and I really had a great time. It felt good to give back to the community.
Yes, yes, yes. Shout out to Martin Luther King Jr. Day and to all of those who had an opportunity to give back to their community. There are some people that give 365 days of the year. Some only give on Dr. King Day. But regardless of whether or not you had the capacity to do it one day or every day, we thank you for your service. Next out the gate, Theo Jones. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing good. Happy MLK Day, everybody. And I feel like I'm like most of the world, or most of the Negro people. I'm waiting for Wednesday.
Well, Biden inaugural transition is going to be taking place on the 20th, y'all. Those who have been long awaiting and anticipating that day. And last but not least, straight from the mean streets of Baltimore City, Showtime.
So you said Joe Biden about to have a transgender coming out. What happened?
What?
I heard transgender coming out. I didn't know what was going on.
No, the transition team.
Oh, okay. I thought he was coming with the LGBTQ UMLP MLK. I didn't know what was going on today. I'm just saying.
Did you get that COVID vaccine?
I'm not getting that shit. No, sir. You ain't gonna hit me with the dum-dum. You ain't gonna hit me with the willy lump lump. Y'all get it and let me know how it happens. But today is a beautiful day. I made a great dinner. I'm enjoying it. Great company, great people. MLK.
Yeah, shout out to MLK. So we're going to jump right into the topic. The topic today is dating in the workplace. So there are many people that have been asking this question because, I don't want to say it has anything to do with COVID because this topic has been around for decades. But I think sometimes people, you're at work. If you're at a 9 to 5, you're spending significant amount of time at work. If you're an entrepreneur, that's a whole nother beast to get into. But for those who are working a 9 to 5 at an employer where they are not the CEO, regardless of whether or not they have a leadership position, we want to have discussions with them about what's your opinion on dating in the workplace. Now, most people say, what's that scenario? I think it's you don't. God.
Shit where you eat.
Thank you. There you go. Thank you. There you go. Good. Yes. So people say that in context when they're talking about dating at work. And it can be a good thing or a bad thing. I really just think it depends on the person. So we're going to just see what y'all have to say about that. And we're going to start with Sugar Belongs on Grits shirt today. What's your take on dating in the workplace? Is it avoidable? Is it forbidden? What's your 2 cents?
I think most jobs try to frown on that. I think they do. But, depending on the size of the company, if y'all got different locations, maybe different floors, you travel, it might work. But other than that, I don't think it'll work. If I'm mad at you and then I got to do a project with you or something like that, or we in the meeting, you leading the meeting, I don't want to hear nothing you saying. It could cause some friction. But if it's a big enough company, I think it can work.
Okay. Okay. So size of the company matters. Okay. TW.
Size always matters.
Like Theo has stated, it is frowned upon. Like a lot of times companies will have it in their employee handbook. But I think it also depends on what field or arena vocationally you're in. Because prime example, as a social worker, there's no relationships going on. We're all women. You know what I'm saying? And we're all straight women. So there's no relationship going on there. So I think it depends on who you work for, what field you're in, that kind of thing. So, but I do know when I was an educator, there was a couple together and that one had to actually go to a different school. So I've seen that happen because of the policy in the handbook. And they were staying together because they were engaged, clearly. So yeah, but I think it just kind of depends on, who your employer is, what you're doing. Like if you're in a women dominated field and we're all straight, we don't concern with that. So
Showtime.
Well, if you find true love, it matters not where you are. It could be in the workplace, it could be at church, it could be anywhere. But if you find true love, go for it. But if you're just trying to fuck, and I say, look, go do what you do. You know what I'm saying? This conversation need to be had. You know what you looking for? You're looking for the itchy itchy yaya with the marmalade. You know. So if that's what you're trying to do, then do what you do. But at the end of the day, everything is done with decorum. If you want something, if you're trying to do it, yes, ma'am, decorum. I got a 1350 on my SAT. Don't play with it. Don't play with me.
You better remember your SAT score.
I'm always remember that because I got Brown, Cornell, and all them joints sent me letters, but I was a little bit. I wasn't going. But no, at the end of the day, it's about how you handle things. I'm for if it's true love. It has to be done accordingly. I don't think it's something that you can avoid. I feel like if it's something that you want to have, it can be, but you all have to understand where you are in that workplace and don't allow. Usually, is the men, is us. They're getting our feelings because that woman might be getting a little more attention. So it'll be us. They'll be in our feelings, they'll be in our bag, be like, wow, Mr. Otis over there looking at you. Not knowing Mr. Otis been married to his wife 82 years and Mr. Otis need Viagra to get up. He ain't thinking about her. He just brought her lunch. So it's usually the men. They be us. They be in our feelings. Very, very much. So, it's all about how you handle it. It can work and it can be. So don't shun away from it.
So I'm glad you made that statement, Showtime, about people getting in their feelings, because I want to talk about some of the benefits and the pitfalls of dating at work, because I think it's subjective. Not all employers have policy that say you can or cannot fraternize with each other. The ones that do are typically they don't bar you from dating. They say that if you live in the same household as the individual, you can't work in the same office. That's typically the general policy across all spheres. Now, if you working on the law enforcement and things like that, it's a little more stringent on what that means. The Army, because there is an understanding that with relationships come challenges and stresses when you're not seeing eye to eye. When everybody's in the happy honeymoon phase, everything's great. But as soon as the shovel hits the snow and drama, sometimes it has an opportunity to trickle into the workplace, and that's what they want to prevent. And also, most people have policies because if it come down to like somebody you're dating doing something wrong and you have to maintain integrity, your likelihood of snitching on them is probably lessened because you're engaged in a relationship with them. So that's mainly the reason why. But regardless of policy, people still do what they want and just hope either A, not to get caught, or B, they don't have no intentions of moving in with the person. So they're like, whatever. So what are the pitfalls to actually dating at work? Showtime.
I apologize. The pitfalls can usually be, like we said before, the insecurities. It can also put a hindrance on your relationship, as far as like we talked about this before with conversations. You're trying to spend more time knowing what that person's doing at work rather than doing your job. spending more time trying to be with that person doing the work hours where you're supposed to be doing your work. So you're not allowing yourself to have space. If it was something where you met that person while you're at work, then that's different. But if you like, baby, can you give me a job? Or, oh, can you give me a job? And then you put a person on, and then now they clingy, then that can pose a problem, you know. But if it was like, oh, I'm working at Kennedy Krieger and I'm a doctor and I need a nurse, then you know it might be able to work because I didn't help her get on, and we understand where we are in our relationship. But if she was a nurse and I was mopping the floors, I might be trying to be in her bushes more than anything else because I ain't got the bag that she got.
Okay. TW, same question. What's the pitfalls to dating in the workplace?
I think the pitfalls is basically if you met on the job and then one catches feelings first and a lot faster than the other, and they're not on the same page, it can cause some tension during meetings. I've witnessed that before in education with that same couple I referenced earlier. We know when they're fighting, but I think the problem is that they allowed too many people in to their relationship. They were very open and communicating what was going on. And so I think that's a pitfall. Like, if that's your relationship, let it be your relationship. You don't have to invite your coworkers into that because they're your coworkers, they're not your friends. And so I think knowing the boundaries would be important. So yeah, there's blurred lines, especially if it's the person you're reporting to. That can get a little messy.
Yeah, that's typically shunned and frowned upon in almost every society that has a boss and subordinate relationship. Because then it gets like, I feel like it gets real tricky when if you're trying to date someone who's your boss and then they try to give you a work assignment you don't want to do, and sometimes you think you don't have to listen. So I had, oh my God, it was an episode of A Different World where is it Sinbad? Jesus. Who played on A Different World? Jesus.
It was Sinbad.
Yes, okay. He was dating, I forgot the lady's name with the short haircut.
Yeah,
thank you. All right. So basically, he was her boss, and you know, she tried to make an executive decision. He was like, hold up. I'm the director, you just the RA. So I'm gonna need you. But he had to like basically put her in her place in front of people because she was overstepping her authority because she had a relationship with him. Just because you have a relationship with the director doesn't mean that you assume the director responsibility when he's not there. So she was basically making a decision. He overturned it and she got in her feelings about it. Then on top of that, it was their anniversary and they want to go out to dinner. Now she got a pissy attitude and he like, for real, you can't leave work at work. You got to bring it home. Like, you know, so I think that's a pitfall. Theo.
First, I want to say shout out. This whole time, I thought Showtime was bald. This is the first time I haven't seen him without the whole hat.
Oh, but, yeah.
This is the first time. But
he got hair on his head, and he got his whole hairline.
Yeah, I see. But I think one bad thing could be like spending too much time together. Because like, if you're dating, you see each other outside of work, and now I'm seeing you at work for 8 hours, 8+ hours, depending on what job you got. Like, that could be tough. And then it could be tough if we're fighting for like promotions or going after the same projects.
Ooh.
Like that can make things bad. Like if I keep getting my projects or promotions and you not doing nothing, you can start feeling a certain type of way about that. So I think those are two things that could go wrong.
Yeah, you know what? That's so funny because I know a couple at a place where I work, they're married. And so they were both putting in for the job and the husband got it over the wife twice. But I mean, they were good sports about it. At the end of the day, the money is coming to the same household. They're married, so that's the difference. But you know, I think it's one of those things when you're trying to determine whether or not it's worth pursuing a work relationship. I think you just have to do your own pros and cons, because I know Showtime gave the example of a doctor. You know, doctor-nurse relationship would probably be perfect sometimes, because doctors work very, very long hours. A lot of my medical doctor friends that have been married have been divorced because the person that they married didn't realize how busy doctors get. You know, they don't work a standard work week, especially if you're in labor and delivery. If somebody have a baby, you got to wake up at 2:00 in the morning, go deliver that baby as your patient. So, you know, so we talked about pitfalls. What are some of the benefits? I mean, one is on the inverse of spending that time. If you're in a field where your work is dominated, like people that do offshore drilling, they're gone offshore for like 30 days. People in the military, they travel overseas and they could be gone for a whole year. So what do you think about the benefits? Showtime.
See, this is the issue with dating at work. I'm gonna break it all the way down. Dating at work is not a problem until you break up. Then when you break up, that's when you get in your feelings. And it could be a great breakup. But soon as Joe the janitor start looking at Nancy the nurse and you Dan the doctor, oh, you in your feelings. You in your feelings. So the issue is not so much when you're dating at work, because I think people can keep that, separate. Because people cheat every day. People keep things underneath the bushes all
Cheat
day.
at work with another coworker, you messing with this coworker, they get to fighting in the lobby.
That must be what they do in Social Security Administration. I don't know about that. That's a big building. A lot of floors. A lot of campuses.
I do not confirm or deny any relations to that.
All I know is I'm a part of a non-hazing organization and we don't do none of that. So at the end of the day, beginning of the day, the issue usually lies when the breakup happens. Like I said, it could be a great breakup. It could be a breakup where you all both agree upon, but someone feelings, whether it's a male or female, it can sometimes cause tension in the workplace. Whether you're on the same floor, same space, or whatever, it can cause tension. And that's the biggest issue that we face.
So should people be afraid to date at work because they may inevitably break up?
Absolutely not. Don't be afraid, because you never know what your true blessing is. Don't be afraid. You might find your true love on Facebook. Find it. Go. Who cares?
I mean, hopefully if you find them on Facebook, you've seen them and met them in person and had a real conversation with a human being, because you could be being catfished.
Well, that's another topic for another day.
Yes, it is.
At least have dinner with them, something. There are things you can build off of if you want to make sure that person who it is. But don't never allow someone or something to stop you from things that you actually want to accomplish in life and or relationship-wise. This is 2021. No things are conventional. No things are by the book nowadays. So we have to, venture out and see what it is. Who knows? That virtual guy you on 120 people with on Skype or Zoom, he might be a special person there. So don't knock it till you try it.
Go ahead, Theo.
It could be some pros. You could treat some, like if you guys are really busy, it could be like a date thing, like lunch could be like a date, like pick different spots for lunch. I think the biggest pro it could be, I'm going to say, is that secret relationship. That relationship that nobody knows about. And like y'all, send a little text throughout the day or giving each other looks like, oh, I can't wait till later. One of those things, maybe go to the bathroom, send you a little picture or something like that. Or you be like, yeah, I see Janitor Bob looking at you. He just don't know that I'm going to be looking at you later. Like one of those things. I think that could be fun. The little, we're not supposed to be doing this, but we're doing it type thing. Married at work and working together, me personally, I can't do that. Because if I'm living with you all day and driving with you to work, you at work, then maybe you want to do lunch. Then we go, and I can't do all that. I need me time. Leave me alone.
But you want to know why I laugh? Because back at the job, there are a lot of people that are married and they carpool to work. And it was so funny one day. They didn't work in the same building, but the coworker came to work. She was like, man, she caught what's it called, a Uber to work because she was like, girl, I just ain't want to ride in the car with him this morning. God dang, like I just woke up next to you, you know. And then in some of those places where you're married and you don't have the same work schedule, who want to get in the car and come to work early just to save on gas? I don't want to be at work a whole hour early because you got to be there before me. So those are some of the challenges that I've heard that a lot of people who are married face. But what's the benefits in your opinion, TW?
I think a benefit would be if you are working for like a large corporation and you're at different locations. I think that would be good because that way, kind of going back to what Theo said, a lunch date, you can go to a midpoint, right? Do lunch, or you can swap stories of what happened at work because you're at two different locations, or you can even talk about a policy change and you just want to get everybody's opinion. Like, what do you feel about this new policy that's at work? I mean, there is a benefit to that. And then you automatically have somebody that's in your corner and that's supporting you with what's going on. But I do think it gets tricky once you become married. Because that's just a whole different ballgame when you see them like all the time. But if you are very private with your marriage or even your relationship, the benefit is that you all know the secret that everyone else don't know. And so even if people try to pry and try to figure out what's going on, you still don't have to subject yourself to their questions. So I think, you know, the benefit is just safeguarding what you got going on and just making it sacred, really.
Yeah. Well, y'all, I mean, there are pros, there are cons. Now I want to just go through the would you do it? Yes or no? Showtime.
Been there, done that.
Okay. TW.
In my field, no, unless there's some straight men that are working at my company. Sure.
I know some great men that are social workers. I got you.
Yeah, it's a bunch of them over there working in the prisons. Theo, if you could.
Which ones in the prisons?
Huh?
The ones incarcerated?
No, no. Good Lord. They're, you know, social work. That's a social work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know. You know, she might be on some for life shit. You know.
Listen, birthday twin my back though. You see how he jumped in and was like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, no, most male social workers that I know are in the prison corrections. You know, they need muscle, I guess, manpower.
What the hell is this?
Oh, you couldn't see it. That was my muscles.
Bill Jones.
Yeah, I thought she was talking about for life for a second, but I would say for fun I would do it. Serious, I probably wouldn't. But don't let your job block your blessing. If that's your blessing, go ahead and get your blessing.
Yeah, you know, I frown upon it. I mean, I'm allowed to, I guess, the field that I work in, but it just goes back to the drama. Like, I'm like, this could be sloppy and messy if something were to go wrong. And I don't want that. I don't need that where I work. So I tend to be like, nah. But do what you do. You know, we're just giving advice on tips and pitfalls. But if you have an opportunity you think is going to work, just have those candid conversations and really draw boundaries about, you know, keeping your business at home and not bringing it to the workplace. And I think you'll be okay. And if you do break up, let that be just it, a cordial, peaceful breakup, and go back to what you were doing before you met them. If it wasn't talking to them, just pretend they don't exist. No, don't do that. But we're going to go through our final words of advice tonight. Showtime.
At the end of the day, beginning of the day, you know your worth. You know what you're capable of dealing with. So if having love at the workplace is something that you can handle, and you know the pros and cons, why not? If you can't handle it, then you know the pros and cons again. Don't do it. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. You don't have to be a doctor like Crystal Francis to figure this out. Know what it is that you want, rock with it, and know what can come with it.
Thank you. Theo Jones.
I'm going to say don't miss out on your possible love because of it. Keep your resume up to date. You know, maybe one of y'all got to leave to find another job. If you're at a good place, you can always find another good job. Now, if you You know what I mean? Not even a good place. If you're a janitor, you can be a janitor anywhere. So just keep your resume tight. If you need to get a new job, get you a new job. But Crystal, I think you might have missed out on your future because you just don't want to do it.
Child, let me tell you.
Her future's CEO.
What he say? What he say?
Future's that CEO that be trying to take you to lunch.
You petty. TW.
I think you have to know yourself and you have to be honest with yourself. If this is a risk you're willing to take, then do it. If you feel like you're not equipped to handle it, then don't. I just think it just starts with honesty and knowing your capacity. Like, what can you tolerate and what can't you tolerate? If you are someone who is very insecure, very jealous, then maybe you don't need to date somebody that you work with. But if you are secure and confident with who you are and you're confident in the relationship, then I think you'll be okay.
Well, y'all, there you have it. It's a toin cost. You either do it or you don't. So that's all we have for you today on Love and War. I give my regards to the Baltimore Ravens.
Don't worry about that because it's not a coin toss. It's not a toin toss. It's a coin toss.
And with those words from Showtime, we'll conclude by saying, continue to follow us on the Facebook page. Continue to listen to us on Spotify. Continue to join the Clubhouse app. Don't know what's going on because I saw something that said the Clubhouse app was ending. Don't know if that was true or false. And continue to visit www.dearchrissy.com to catch the archived shows that you missed. And we'll see you next week, Monday, here, live on YouTube, to talk about breadcrumbing, ghosting.
I don't know what breadcrumbing is. I had to eat them growing up. I don't want to go back there.
Zombieing.
Croutons.
Right. And to break down what you should do if you're exclusively dating on social media and that person refuses to meet you in person or
Is a man.
It's serious out here. People are actually doing these things, and we're gonna take a deep dive next week. We're out.